What's up guys, and welcome back to Pop Beat Breakdowns. In today's video we're going to be breaking down and showing you how to make a 1975 alternative pop type beat. If you are new to the channel, my name's Joe Gorchi, the producer behind Pop Beat Breakdowns, and all the beats that you hear on this channel are beats that I've handcrafted myself in certain styles, and the whole point of this channel is to relay that across to you in the hope that you can gather some inspiration when it comes to making your own productions. And the 1975 is a breakdown I've been wanting to do for a while because they have a very unique sound, so there is some textures in this production that I have derived which you can replicate for yourself now if you want to get that 1975 sound. If you are new to this channel as well, smash the subscribe button right now as the best way to support the channel, because as of this video I am dropping tutorials weekly in artist styles, so if you want to broaden your knowledge as a music producer then this is the channel for you. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to open up the project and we're going to take a look at the beat and break it down and show you the order that I've added everything in, because I feel like that's a very good way to help you get an understanding of how to build up these sorts of productions. So without further ado, let's put the headphones on. Okay, so this is the production we got here. What I'm going to quickly do is play you the track and then break down the elements one by one. So this is the track that I made in the style of a 1975. Okay, so there is a lot to go through here, even though the production itself is quite simple, and I always like to keep beats on this channel like that. So basically, we're going to start today with the drums. This is where I started the production because when I was listening to the 1975, I could set the tempo about 107. A lot of their songs, they're kind of really nice, sort of like, I like to describe them as long car journey type of songs, where they're really sort of like they've got this chill yet really driven feeling to them. So I went for a tempo of 107. I felt like that was a good medium because I was trying to change between 105, 110, even 115, but this felt like a happy place to sit. And the drum beat today, it's very simple. You can do this in Logic with, again, as I got Logic, but I'm using the Kontakt player and I'm using the Abbey Road 80s drummer. This is a personal favorite of mine when it comes to drums. This is by Native Instruments. Really cool drum software, and we just got the elements broken down into kick and snare, hi-hats, crashes, and fills, because with MIDI drums you want to try and make them sound as real as possible, so I do like to split some elements up. The reason I keep the kick and the snare together is because they're down the middle of the mix. The hi-hats I like to put slightly off-center, which I've actually done inside the actual VST today, and then the crashes as well, which you will see here I've actually added some more reverb so they're a little bit more pronounced and bring a little bit more atmosphere to the mix at the same time using the wrong reverb. And then the fills is something that again I like to have more control of, which I did actually add a reverb, but apparently I must have wanted to take it out. But this is the drums that you hear in the track. Very simple. Now, this is where we can really start to get the 1975 influence across. So I'm going to just quickly play you the bass that I have here. So let's isolate that. Now, what we've got here is a blend of two different basses put together. The bass I've taken from some of the newer, or the more when they were going a little bit more on the synth side of their music when it comes to 1975. So the first one we've got is this sample here. Now I think this was a Logic stock. It was the Solid Soul electric bass. This is just a normal standard bass, but I like to layer it in any sort of bass because it adds that nice clean bass to tracks, and this is what it sounds like. Keeping this very staccato because the second bass is filling in a lot of the gaps. Now what this one is, this is the classic analog bass. This is found in Retro Synth and Logic, so if you're a Logic user you can find this for yourself. Just go into the bass settings here, synth bass, and you find the classic analog bass. This is used in so many tracks. This is probably one of the most common bass sounds, but it's really good to know that you've got this in Logic if you're a Logic user. If you're not in Logic, I'm sure you can find similar Retro Synth presets in your DAW which have this sound. It's very common. When you blend the two together, the Solid Soul electric bass is just giving us a little bit more thickness, which helps it stick out in the mix. And so the drums and the bass first are getting the rhythm section under control. And there's a little bit of what I like to do with the basses when it comes to these types of music. I actually like to controversially split them out to the sides of the mix a little bit because there's some stuff that I want to be going down the middle, and also there's going to be a vocal on the track as well. Just a couple of effects on here, but mainly this is what you get out the tin. Now we're moving on to probably the most exciting part, and this is electric guitars. There's a lot of electric guitar layers here to break down. Now for all the electric guitars, for those of you who don't play guitar, you'll be refreshed to know I actually didn't play any real guitar for this track because I've used a mixture of different VST plugins by Native Instruments, starting with the Session Guitarist Electric Mint, and it sounds like this. Oh, sorry, this is just MIDI. So this is playing chords. And what I've done to make it sound real is I haven't quantized any of the chords because I want it to sound like it's actually a guitarist strumming. And I think it kind of does get effect across. Now that's just layering down the chords. Then I wanted to build on that. I wanted something with a little bit more movement, so then I added in this one. And that again is a Session Guitarist Electric Mint. Now, when we're starting to think about where the guitars are going to be placed, I've used the sample delay. Got one of these sample delay to the left, one of these samples delay to the right, and so forth, because not only does this double up the guitar sound, so we get a really nice big sounding guitar section, but on top of that, like, it's also spreading the guitars out to the sides of the mix as well, with of course a slight bias to whichever single side is not the one that's sample delayed. So I added a little bit of reverb as well. The ROM reverb, again, you're going to see this one a lot. It's my favorite reverb to use. It's by Native Instruments. So then we added another layer in, which I laid over the top of this. So let's play these two together. Just to add a little bit of emphasis on certain notes, it just helps it to bounce a little bit more. And then this is the last layer that we got added in here. Coming in with some acoustic guitar. And this is the Strummed Acoustic 2 by Native Instruments, a personal favourite of mine. Just using the power chords. It's very simple, but it's really nice for just layering into productions. Now, even though it doesn't look like I've gone much to it, when you actually go into the sound and the playback, I've got all of it doubled. So again, this is out to the sides of the mix, building that wall of sound. Acoustic guitar, I just always find has a really nice percussive element to it, which really helps to elevate any kinds of guitar tracks in a mix. And then I've layered that again. Now this is a little preset that I found. I just thought it was a really cool. It's called Edgy Times, and I just wanted to put my own chords into it, but use it because again, this was just a really nice sort of like backing layer to it. And so there's a lot of use of the Native Instruments guitars in here, but I kind of want to do that because even though I'm not endorsed to say this, I really do like these plugins. When it comes to guitar VSTs, they're up there the best. They're so good out the tin. And for any of you producers who aren't guitar players, this is something that you really should look into because you can actually add real good sounding guitars, as you can hear here, into your mix. Now, if you are a guitarist, I can play guitar, if I'm being honest, but for the sake of this video and for the sake of this beat today, I wanted to see what I could actually do with MIDI guitar. So that's the reason why this is all MIDI, and it's as plain and simple as that. This is what we've got so far. Sounds really cool. Now we move on to some of the more intimate textures and ones that you actually may associate with 1975 a lot more. So firstly, we've got this electric piano that I've put in. It's got a nice little modulated effect to it. Very simple, but something light and delicate in the mix, because if you actually listen to 1975 songs, there's loads of textures which, even though they're not stuck out and prominent in the mix, they are there and really adds to the mix. And the electric piano is something that you hear very often in other 1975 tracks. Now this is one of the coolest effects that I've got to add, and this is something that you have heard before in a 1975 song, but maybe not known how to make it. So I'm going to show you how. So I've got this analog waves here. Now this is just a simple pad, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn everything off because I want you to hear what it was like before. So this is the pad by itself. Okay, so then I added a compressor just to tighten this pad up a little bit more. Then I've added 2 overdrives. This is just a Logic preset where I've completely cranked up the distortion, not once but twice, to really mess up the sound of this pad. And then I've added a chorus effect to push it right out to the sides of the mix, and finished off with a ROM reverb, so it's got that nice decay and release afterwards. And this is what the outcome was of that. Makes it sound like an electric guitar. But I definitely, on the 1975's first album, the self-titled one they brought out, you did definitely hear this sound. And you've heard it on a couple of other albums as well. I do love it, and I can never create it, but then the other year I found out how to create it. So now I actually like to do it quite often, especially in alternative pop tracks. I find it really can fit in well. So that is how I came up with that. And when you just hear it in the whole context of the mix, it just sounds so cool and so 1975. And then lastly, something that is really cool and done a lot in alternative pop, it's the whole sound design aspect that isn't talked about enough when it comes to making tracks. And for this one, I've got a couple of different textures and sounds that I use, which may surprise you, but they add to the development of the productions. Now the first one is, we got this sound here. I'm just going to play this to you so you can hear it. So that's just white noise. I got this on Splice, but you can make white noise actually in Logic if you want to sometimes, and it's just a little bit of a build up to create a little bit of transition between the verses and the choruses. And the last one, this is a personal favorite of mine. Now, I'm just going to play this for you because you wouldn't be expecting that this is the sort of sound that you'd have in a mix unless you heard it. That is the sound of a car crashing with a load of reverb on it and delay. Now, this is something that I've heard before in a lot of different productions, but I just think it creates a really nice stamp to start a chorus. So, like, let me play you first the chorus without it. Now let me play it with it in. Subtle, but it just creates a little bit of a stamp or to complete a transition from one section to the next, and adds a little bit of a lift when it comes to the chorus. And I just really hope it helps elevate the production a lot more as well. Now, something I don't do a lot on this channel, but it's been recommended, is showing you my mastering chain. Now, I'm not a fully fledged mastering engineer. This is just something that I feel like works for me. So yeah, guys, that is the track altogether. If you enjoyed this video, smash the subscribe button, as it is the best way to support the channel, and let me know in the comments below what other artists you want me to make beats of so I can break them down in future videos. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Keep making music, and I will see you in the next video.